The best part of this movie was seeing a friend of mine in a bra, and my friend is a guy. So what does that tell you? Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Eddie Johnson, and this is my review of S-Storm. A clear sign of the decline of English in Hong Kong is the title of this movie, but it would be unfair to call this movie Shitstorm. Storms have strength and they're impressive and they can be interesting. This movie really should be called S-Breeze. Lazy, half-hearted, and filled with the pungent reek of failure and sloth. This movie made me physically sick. It's absurdly bad. How bad? Quite honestly, I'm amazed there was no TVB slug at the beginning. That bad. The opening of the film kicks off with a tedious scene in which Ada Choi lays out a gigantic amount of uninterrupted, uninteresting, and unnecessary exposition that feels exhausting. In another scene, another character goes into way too much detail about their personal life. I don't mean inappropriate detail, I just mean there's way too damn much of it. And they decide to do this in a very unusual place. Then again, as a recovering Irish Catholic, I can kind of relate to the idea that the best place for a tearful histrionic trip down memory lane is in a bar in front of a bunch of people. Seen it, heard it, it was Christmas. But then, in other parts of S-Breeze, things that happen are barely explained or not explained at all. Of all the taxi drivers in Shenzhen, how does this woman find the one guy that not only knows the subject the woman is looking for, but actually dated her? And how did these two people, the woman and the taxi driver, agree to have hot pot after he tries to kidnap her and she tries to choke him? Maybe there was some exposition in the Chinese dialogue that explains this and other mysteries, but I don't really care. Speaking of unanswered questions, why does that entire segment that takes place in Shenzhen look like it was shot by a completely different crew of people who have no experience with film equipment? It doesn't really matter, because S-Breeze is so full of factual nonsense that logic and intelligence were obviously sold to a traveling circus run by one-legged gypsies under the command of a Siberian moose named Rufus. If somebody gets shot in the head while driving a car, how does the car end up in park before the police even get to it? Well, maybe getting shot in the head isn't instantly fatal, because later in the movie someone else gets shot with a rifle and the bullet goes in one temple and out the other, and I know that from the CG, but he's alive long enough that he can make a wistful face and look at someone so that the movie gets another cheap grab at melodrama. Maybe this completely wacko script is just trying to make up for the complete paucity of acting that's going on here. Dada Chen could lose out on an audition to a houseplant, a dead houseplant. I have no idea how on earth she keeps getting acting jobs.
I'll bet you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Julian Chung can act. He just doesn't do it this time. Instead, he walks around making a lemon face. But I understand, because S-Breeze crawled up my ass too. Louis Koo sleepwalks through his role, but luckily for him, the character that he's playing is fairly reserved anyway. He did entertain me, and besides, he's Louis Koo. He makes about 40 movies a year, so we can't reasonably expect him to act in each and every one of them. Fans of older Hong Kong movies will probably really relish what amounts to an unintentional homage to the films of the 1970s. The English dubbing of a white actor sounds exactly like the 1970s. It's chilling, douche chilling. Speaking of throwbacks, there's another Westerner in this movie who's the stiffest white actor since John Holmes. Ada Choi keeps trying to lighten up the proceedings in whatever scene she's in. Maybe she thought it was a TVB movie. It's incongruous and unnecessary, but then that's S-Breeze in a nutshell, isn't it? The only thing worse than actors overacting is people who can't even act overacting. The idea behind police surveillance in a public space is that you don't get noticed. But I guess the director figured he better make sure that the audience understood what these police officers were doing, because when they do surveillance, it's very obvious that they're looking for someone. It's not surveillance, it's like superveillance. Too much of S. Breeze is like that. The whole film, it's just filled with this kind of painful obviousness. It's cinema for all the wrong reasons. The filmmaking is plodding and predictable and pedestrian. In movies, this is what should happen here, so we better do that. And they do that for 90 minutes. There's really no excuse for any movie being this bad. And naturally, S. Breeze, like Z-Storm before it, ends with yet another scene of all of our heroes walking in a line abreast, and then there's a freeze frame that makes them look super extra heroic. Yet another case solved by our intrepid, high-integrity civil servants. See you in another 2 years, where yet again we will solve another case and bring, no doubt foreign, again, criminals to justice.
Go fuck your mother.
The only way I'm gonna watch another one of these runny turds is if it's a Category 3 movie starring Elvis Choi called F-Storm. I've never wanted to kick a movie in the nuts before, but I do now. I can't stand this movie, and I'm not going to recommend that you see it. In fact, I'm actively going to tell you not to watch it. Don't watch it in the cinema. Don't watch it on a Blu-ray or a DVD, which I will add the link for when it gets released, even though I don't want to do that. I dislike this movie so much, I almost don't want to tell you not to steal it, but I am going to say that because that's what I do. Don't steal this movie. It stinks, but the people that made it don't deserve to get robbed. If you enjoyed the review, please leave a comment. If you didn't, leave a comment. If you enjoy this channel, please subscribe. That way I get more subscribers. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. As much as this movie was garbage, there was one very interesting subtitle. It said, he had a shithole of friends. Now nobody talks to him. I think they meant the director.